presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day, and I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a Wednesday here inside the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano with you on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union, breaking down Oregon football and their matchup coming up against Oregon State over the weekend. A noon kick, which means a 10 o'clock pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network. Dan Lanning spoke with the media earlier today, breaking down the matchup. Also, Dusty Harrah spoke with Joey Mack in studio yesterday. Dusty Harrah, you'll hear him on our pregames and on our sidelines during the game. You'll also hear him on this program breaking down the game. We also heard from Coach Tracy Joyner. She caught up in studio with Joey Mack after what was a pretty positive showing for Oregon soccer against a top 5 UCLA team, which neither team scored a goal throughout the course of play. The only time UCLA scored was during 2 penalty kicks during the game. Oregon played pretty well during this game against UCLA. Coach Joyner will break that down as well. Also, coming up later tonight is going to be the Oregon Coaches Show, live here in studio every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So you'll be able to hear from Coach Dan Lanning as well as a student-athlete. Bryce Betcher tabs to be the student-athlete here in the Country Financial Studio coming up later tonight ahead of an Oregon State versus Oregon matchup at Autzen Stadium. And if you want to be part of the fun, if you're at Autzen Stadium before the game, the Big Ten, they're doing a tailgate at the Autzen Stadium South Gates. The live broadcast for the Big Ten will be from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. So it'll be right around when all the gates open, the Mashofsky Center opens. You'll be able to get in to the seats at Autzen Stadium, but if you want to stick around for the Big Ten tailgate, that'll be happening starting at 10 o'clock a.m. On Saturday ahead of this matchup between Oregon and Oregon State. It's a big one. It's a rivalry matchup. Certainly means a lot to all of us here and all of you out there, especially around the state of Oregon. Coach Lanning, earlier today, he met with the media breaking down the keys to this matchup, how important this matchup is, and some pretty good-looking new uniforms. Here's Coach Lanning.
Good competitive day of practice today. I thought it was much better than yesterday's practice. I thought yesterday's practice wasn't as good or to our standard, but today was a lot cleaner. Got some good situational football in there for us as well today.
When you were bringing in Malik in the offseason, just what did you guys see from him in the past, but albeit limited at Florida State and Alabama, and what has he lived up to, maybe even exceeded already?
Yeah, he's been an unbelievable teammate is where I'll start, right? I mean, steps on the field, excited to work every single day, has a smile on his face. We knew he was a special talent from a speed standpoint, and that's really shown up for us in a couple of these games early, not even just on offense, but even on special teams. He's done a really good job as well, so real positive.
Coach, kind of want to go what you said in your opening statement. What didn't you like in practice yesterday, and how did you see the team kind of recover today that you did see that you liked the product?
I just think there's a level of intensity that's required when you step on the football field. You have to bring it and do it a certain way, and it can't be, it's at times you can't just go through the motions and expect to have success. So that was there today. We had that today.
For all that Phil's given this university, it was kind of notable the emotion he had when you guys presented him with the Shoe Doc uniforms. I'm just curious, and what was it like to give him something, considering all that he's meant here?
Oh, man. I mean, we can't give him and Penny enough, flowers for the things that they've done for this program and for, everybody in the sport of college football and sports in general. So pretty awesome to honor somebody that matters so much to us.
Theran talked yesterday about how a guy like Jerry Mixon playing linebacker makes it so much easier when you guys are in cover one and being able to play man coverage because he's lurking underneath. What have you seen from Jerry Mixon doing that role, being able to play underneath and rove over the middle like that?
Yeah, just seeing it consistently. Like I've said it several times that it shows up in practice for Jerry. He's really good at creating an opportunity for a quarterback to think they have an open window and then breaking on the ball to where they don't. You know, it actually hurt him a little bit in game one where he broke on a ball that he almost made and it ended up becoming a completion. But, you know, it's something he's put a lot of focus on and it shows up in practice.
Do you believe in young teams going through growing pains of learning what the standard is and bringing it every single week? Is that kind of maybe what's happened this week?
No, I think every team has growing pains, right? Every team has to improve. Every team has to get better, right? And that's our job as coaches to make sure that our team is consistently getting better. It's our job as players to make sure we're upholding that standard.
When he got here to now, what do you think the biggest difference is in Bryce?
Well, he weighs a lot more. And he doesn't hit people he's not supposed to hit at practice anymore. You know, he used to hit everybody. So now he only hits the people he's allowed to hit. But with about 25 more pounds on him, which is awesome. And then just the intelligence, the football IQ has really grown. He's become a guy that understands situations, and he plays the game the way you're supposed to play football. It's pretty awesome.
I know your running back room's pretty talented, but how do you balance the Dier's usage? He's so explosive. His yards per carry is so high. Like, how do you balance this is the right number of touches to we should give him more touches?
Yeah, that's our job. Right? So every week continue to evaluate it. How much can they handle, right? How much can we execute at a high level regardless of what the look is, because you don't get to call the offense and the defense. You got to see what they're in, right? And then be able to react to that and play to that. But he's earned a role, right? Just like several of those guys have earned roles in our system, and somebody we have to continue to use.
To follow what you said on Bryce, because it's an old story you've mentioned a couple of times, Dan. Was he hitting Bo or, I guess, Ty at the time? Was that?
Yeah, he'd hit anybody. Yeah, he would hit anybody. He'd hit a punter in a punt drill, right? Like, it didn't matter. Bryce would hit anybody. And the way you learn not to hit people is you have to go take a really long lap and go run.
You had many players in your coaching career like that, where you have to really settle them down a lot and train them, or is he kind of unique in that way?
I haven't had a lot. Yeah, no, I haven't had a lot. Bryce is unique for sure.
I know we talked a lot about the rivalry kind of on Monday, but what is the importance of having a player like Bryce on this team that can really relate to maybe more so of what the fans think of this rivalry, and relate that to a team that, you know, comes from all different walks of life, some around the country that may not be as familiar with it?
Yeah, I think it's something like for us that we're constantly reminding our players of. And there's guys like Bryce and Charlie Pickard and Zach Grisham, like guys that are from this area that it means a little bit to. It means a lot to. And there's a lot of coaches on our staff that have played in this game, like Koa and Ryan Walk and Dallas Warmack, that it means something to those guys. So reminding them, you know, of what this game is. It's a little bit more than just a game.
You'll face Hankerson before. Just what stands out about him and what makes him a unique challenge?
A hard runner, and they do a good job from a scheme standpoint of getting your shoulders turned and then making one cuts, you know, and pressing it vertical, but runs extremely hard. Yeah, doesn't go down easy on contact, and that's been a good trait for them.
Kind of going back to Aaron's question, you know, Jerry had a comment yesterday talking about like the big brother, little brother mentality. Do you feel like as the week has progressed, do you feel like the team has gotten more of a sense of what this rivalry means, and have you seen them maybe adjust to that throughout this week so far?
Well, I think when you talk, you better back it up. So we'll see. But ultimately, we know what this game means. I think they're excited about the rivalry.
It's a game that's important to everybody here in the athletic department, everybody that's watching us here on Duck Insider, and especially the people that are on the football field. We'll get to see it on Saturday at 12 o'clock at Autzen Stadium. So great to be back at Autzen Stadium after a week away. That was Coach Lanning breaking down the matchup, brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Now we'll get the OSN perspective. Yesterday, Joey, Dusty Harrah, after practice, they were here in studio breaking down the matchup. We'll get to hear from them when we return after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you real. Don't forget to say yeah.
Back here in the Country Financial Studio, Ryan Milano with you here on a Wednesday. Tuesday after practice, Joey Mack, Dusty Harrah, the guys, they talk some football. Breaking down the matchup. Let's hear from them.
3 weeks down. What does Dusty Harrah think of the Oregon football team?
I think they're really good.
He's Dusty Harrah, our sideline reporter with us, coming down once a week. You just talked with, a guy who has been kind of fun to get to know for the pregame show. Quick tease of the pregame show coming up.
Malik Benson, wide receiver, in his path to Oregon has been a long one. It's taken a few forks in the road to get here, but I think fans are really going to appreciate and love hearing from Malik Benson, who is a really exciting player, but he has an exciting personality as well.
So that's coming up on the pregame show, a 10 a.m. pregame show. Dusty always joining us, running around on the Toyota sidelines. What did you take away from week 3 on the road against Northwestern?
Going on the road is tough, for anybody, and I think that's one thing that people forget, especially when you have the lopsided wins like they had weeks 1 and 2. Going on the road is a different animal, and how much have we talked about the fact that how many young players are playing for this Oregon team, how many guys and fresh faces that we haven't seen before are playing for this team, and then you throw into that new environment, new routine, and we know all athletes are creatures of habit, in a Big Ten matchup where, look, Oregon's going to get everybody's best shot, and I think they got Northwestern's best shot in that game, and they weathered it, and they did a really good job of it.
You bring up a good point, though, about the adversity, right? We talked so much about, this team wants to face a little adversity. Even Will Stein on the coaches show last week said you want to face a little bit of that adversity. And, well, the broadcast crew got that with a thunder and lightning storm pregame. You were enjoying yourself. I got to tell everybody, Dusty was running around like, this is cool. Like, this
I loved
is
it.
Great. So you're a thunder and lightning guy.
I'm a big thunder and lightning guy.
Big thunderstorm guy.
Yeah. And so we got to the stadium at, 5:15 in the morning?
Roughly.
Yeah, and about 5:30, all of a sudden, the skies opened up, and boom. It was raining, thunder, lightning. I'm into it. The only part that was a downside for me and Jorgie was that we went to go and get the flip cards and the rosters.
No.
Which is across the street.
These guys were across the street eating donuts and having coffee, while Jerry and I were in the temporary press box like,
that's not true.
They're never coming back.
Now, in our defense, that's not true. We were trying to get coffee and donuts that weren't available.
Right.
But all of a sudden, it was like we said, rain is letting up a little bit. We're going to go over there. we couldn't walk across the street again for 45 minutes. We got stuck for 45 minutes over there.
They were legitimately stuck. So Jerry and I had a really nice conversation about lightning and the mathematics of thunder and the fact that we could not see Lake Michigan, even though during the game it was beautiful. We could see Lake Michigan. It was right there. So I just want everyone to know that the Oregon football sideline reporter faced a little adversity this last weekend as well, okay? So we all try to get better. We strive to be 1% better, right?
Yeah, 1% better. And look, I know that it was mentioned in the post game, but the speaker on that side was really loud at Northwestern. They got, hey, create your own juice on the road. They created the noise too. It was loud.
So
down
Dusty
there.
would turn his mic on, right, and it'd be like, and we were like, oh well, Dusty needs to say something to us.
Yeah, no, that it just wasn't possible.
So there was adversity.
It was cool,
right?
Yeah.
Now the coaches, though, in all seriousness, the coaches said, and Coach Lanning was pretty blunt, like that's not how you want to finish a game.
No.
So you win and things to improve on still.
Absolutely, and I think that there is something to be said about going up 34-0 on the road, heading into the fourth quarter, but you also talk about the expectations never wavering, no matter who's on the field, whether it is your starters, your second string, third, fourth string guys, whatever. If you are good enough, you're old enough to play. Right. We see that with the freshmen, but those guys that are on the field, that is the test. And going up against the starters for Montana State, Oklahoma State, and then Northwestern, those are good reps for them. But the result is that those 14 points on the board makes the score look a little bit wonkier in this, like it was a little bit closer of a game than it actually was, especially in that second half. But those are the things you want to work on because it's not – they're striving for that perfection. And looking at what that was against Oklahoma State and the way that game played out, you try to replicate that and always try to enhance what happened the week before. Northwestern did not roll over, and that's a credit to them, and they're going to win some games this year. But you always want to look at, all right, a couple of explosives late in the game, created opportunities for them. How do you shore that up, and how do you roll that into week 4 now with Oregon State coming to town?
I'm curious, because this is something that I would often talk to Jerry and Jorgie about post-game is, the vibe on the sideline. It's one thing when you can kind of see it from far up, right? Mm-hmm. It was a unique experience at this stadium because it was the lowest angle that I've ever been in a broadcast booth to call a D1 game since calling high school games for me.
Yeah.
So I felt like we kind of felt the vibe maybe a little bit more than normal.
Yeah.
I'm curious now, this is what your third year down there on the sideline. Like, how much do you think the sideline vibe that you feel is the same that everyone else feels? Because I sometimes did feel like there was a disconnect.
Yeah, there is. Especially when you're that far away, the energy.
It's different.
It is. And I always say, energy is contagious. And everybody can feed off of somebody's energy, whether it's high energy and bringing people up and lifting people up or dragging people down. And you can really feel when heads start to hang and things aren't going well. And that is one thing with this team that you always see is kind of an unrelenting and unwavering energy, high energy going on. And there haven't been a lot of reasons for them to not have that this year because of the way that they've been playing. But I think that is kind of a hallmark of good teams is creating that energy and keeping it high even when the score is lopsided on one side.
Did you think coming into this season too, that this team would play as many people as it has, right? Because again, like you talk about, you don't want to see that drop off, right? And it doesn't matter who's in there. You're going to hear every coach talk about that. But I still think, we all knew the depth and stacking recruiting classes, and I was talking about that a lot. But seeing that many guys play in a conference game, I still think even if it's not the result at the end of the game the coaches wanted, that's a positive moving forward. That's valuable experience.
No, it absolutely is and I didn't expect to see this many guys, like the sheer number of players in games. And it's not just mop-up time because that is completely different. That's a different animal.
Right.
Like you're seeing these rotations are deep throughout the course of a game, but then to go on the road and play in an environment that is completely unique to any other environment that they'll ever see again, just from the size of the stadium, the location of it. But to get that experience of playing somewhere outside of the friendly confines of home, that goes a long way in development of your players. And to see them go up against starting caliber Big Ten players, that will help them ultimately in their development as players for when they do slide into those starting lineups. And we've seen this with a lot of the guys that are playing significant snaps. Like, this hasn't always been the case, right? They've had to work their way up, and it's not just, transfer portal plug and play guys that are coming in. No, these are guys that have been grown in this system and with this team, and getting those snaps in a hostile environment or just a different environment than Autzen Stadium, that's so valuable, and it is unique to just how many guys have been playing.
He's Dusty Harrah. He got a great shot of a lightning bolt this weekend, so you can see that wherever you consume your Dusty Harrah content.
Big lightning guy. I don't like being outside in it.
Thunder or lightning?
Thunder. Yeah.
I thought you would go lightning.
No.
I really did.
Lightning's scary.
Audio guy.
Yeah.
Audio guy.
There you go.
You want the thunder. He's Dusty Harrah.
I really thought he was going to go lightning. Lightning's cooler than thunder, right? Am I the only one who thinks lightning's cooler than thunder? No. Vote in the studio. Lightning, thunder. Lightning. Scott says lightning. Shyla? Okay. Consensus here in studio here today. Lightning cooler than thunder. Dusty Harrah doesn't agree. We'll hear more from Dusty Harrah and Joey Mack when we return after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. Is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
I want you to know.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. On YouTube, Adrian says, lightning is cooler. Thank you. Dusty Harrah going against the grain. Let's see what else he says that might be a little controversial. I don't know. Is lightning over thunder over lightning controversial? Maybe. To me, it is. All right, let's hear more from Dusty Harrah, Joey Mack.
Shoe duck.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm curious for something. I've never asked you this either on or off the air, but like Nike, Phil Knight, University of Oregon, the connection, just all of it. Sum up how maybe it's impacted you, what you think it's done for the University of Oregon, for Nike. And I ask this knowing, like, you've spent much of your life in Portland.
Yeah.
You're a little closer to that Beaverton campus even than the University of Oregon. Like, when you saw all this, when we talked about all this for the first time that this is going to happen this week, what comes to mind for you?
It's so uniquely Oregon, and especially, growing up in the Portland area and Hillsborough specifically is where I grew up. Like, Nike has always been a big part of our area and our state, and it has been kind of the flagship and anchor corporation in our state, and it's meant a lot. Like, growing up, it was like you always knew somebody who worked at Nike, right? And kids, high school, college, you wanted to go and work at Nike, and it's always been so big to the area. But then what it's meant to the University of Oregon and what it has meant to the athletic department specifically, man, I think it is the greatest tribute. And I love the fact that, it's not just about Phil Knight. It's not just about Nike itself. It's about how it started on this campus and what it's meant with Bill Bowerman and, the handshake agreement and, being forged at the Jaqua's house in front of the fireplace. I thought that was a really cool rollout to do with having, Bryce Betcher, an Oregonian, be the guy who is the photo shoot for rolling out these uniforms. And the details are incredible on it. I mean, like the marbling on the helmets and on the numbers, the gold, and every little detail is a tip of the cap to Phil Knight, Penny Knight, Bill Bowerman, and what Nike has meant to Oregon, the university, and the state.
Plug for Bryce Betcher, Oregonian, Rivalry Week. He's on the Coach's Show coming up tonight.
Let's go.
I'm excited to hear his perspective of it. Because if you ask a guy like Bryce Betcher, similar to you growing up in the state, just seeing all of it and then being around to do something like this and show it to Phil, do the uniform shoot, that's a cool thing for a student athlete to go through. So that's tonight with Bryce Betcher. I got to say, too, there's no doubt that it's difficult to quantify how impactful the relationship has been. I don't know that we ever really can quantify it. You talk about the rise of University of Oregon, you talk about the rise of Nike, all of it has been a symbiotic relationship, and yet what I love that it comes back to, you brought up the handshake agreement. I love the fact that patch is on the jersey.
Yeah.
Right? That's how this started. And to be honest with you, I think that says so much about Phil Knight and the kind of person that Phil Knight is, that he would have wanted that. He's never liked being in the spotlight, and that just says, I think, a lot about the way that man is. And all the philanthropic gift that he's given to University of Oregon and well beyond Oregon athletics.
Well, and just looking at what he's done for whether it's the OHSU and the Knight Cancer Institute or the Albina District up in Portland that he's trying to reinvigorate and pumping a large amount of money into. He cares about this state tremendously. But I think one thing is, Coach Lanning said this on his Monday night press conference, that, if you would have just asked Phil Knight about these uniforms, he would have probably said no. Don't make it about me. And that's what these uniforms aren't. They're not just about him. They're about Nike and how it started right here in Eugene.
People that oftentimes, to generalize, I think people that don't want that sort of moment are the ones that probably deserve it the most. No, I'm with you. He's Dusty Harrah, Oregon State. It's Rivalry Week. Theran Johnson said it best. Doesn't matter what each season has been, you throw it all out when it's Rivalry Week. I love the fact that Theran Johnson said that, because that's how you got to feel heading into this one.
Yeah, and there's obviously what Oregon has done through the first 3 weeks of the season has been impressive on a lot of levels. And, Oregon State is on the opposite side of that in the win-loss column. But the Rivalry Weeks bring out the best of everybody, and it does mean a lot to players on both sides, and you don't have to be a person that is from this state to appreciate what it means to play a team that's 36 miles up the road from you. And that is something where I think one thing that is really cool is when you start seeing these student athletes embrace the fact that, yeah, we're doing it for the people that are from here, that live here, that root for us. And if they're Ducks through and through, or they're Beavers through and through, they want to ride for those people who have lived with this and grew up with this rivalry all across the state of Oregon. Because that's one thing about it, is that everybody has a neighbor that is on the other side of this.
No doubt.
And it means a lot more. And when players embrace that, you get the best out of the rivalry in the game.
Keys?
Look, I mean, we talk about this every single week, but starting quick. And starting quick can be on the offensive side or the defensive side. I think what we saw against Northwestern was the offense punting in the first quarter, and a lot of people were like, whoa, wait, whoa. This is a little bit different. But then it was, look at what the defense did in creating a turnover and getting the ball back to the offense and what that means. A quick start can mean on the defensive side to spark the offense. Or the offense, obviously, through the first 2 weeks, that's what sparked everything, right? It's just marching down the field, being precision with the way that they execute and getting the ball in the end zone. Well, last week it was the defense doing that. Right. And for that, you sit there and you go, yeah, that's where you want to be. And in a game that is a rivalry game, how many times have we seen turnovers dictate how the game flows? Yeah. And taking care of the ball and creating extra opportunities, that's what it comes down to here.
Dusty Harrah, he'll be on the sidelines running around for Oregon State coming up, part of the 10 a.m. pregame show. Noon kickoff. Woo. Ducks taking on the Beavs.
Noon Pacific.
Yes. Noon Pacific. Great clarification. We know time zones.
We got it.
We're figuring out time zones. Yeah. Good stuff. See you on Saturday.
All right, we'll see you on Saturday. Thanks, man.
We as an OSN collective are still figuring out time zones. It got me last week. I'm not going to lie to you. It did get me last week. The noon as part of the big noon kickoff, but it being at 9 a.m. No, this is a noon local time, game time, kicked off at noon Pacific time kickoff. I might show up at, I'll definitely be at Autzen by 9 a.m., but I might show up just way early because time zones, they're still hard. They're still really hard. Oregon going up against Oregon State. The uniforms are sweet. I actually just went to the Duck store and picked myself up a hat. They look really cool. There is some new, different merchandise at the Duck store as well, coinciding with it that I certainly enjoy. I just invested in it myself. All right, we're getting the timeout. When we come back, Joey Mack talking soccer. Tracy Joyner on the other side. It's Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Ryan Milano with you here on a Wednesday. Yesterday, Joey Mack caught up with Tracy Joyner after Oregon soccer went down to Southern California to start Big Ten play against a top 5 team in UCLA. And through the course of play, Oregon actually was the team, especially in the first half, that seemed like the aggressor. They had plenty of offensive opportunities, probably the better offensive opportunities on the road against UCLA early. But 2 penalty kicks for the Bruins ultimately led to a 2-0 result in which Oregon lost. But sure, you don't want any moral victories out of a loss. I'm sure Coach Joyner wouldn't tell you that. But still, I think a strong showing against a very good UCLA team and a sign of things moving in the right direction. Joey Mack, Coach Joyner, they talked and broke down the matchup as well as continuing to move on through Big Ten play throughout the course of this week. Here's the conversation with Coach Joyner.
Coming off the road, getting ready for some more big-time matchups. Tracy Joyner, Oregon soccer head coach, is with us in the Country Financial Studio. Okay, inside the broadcast, Coach just came actually from doing a community service event with her team, and I want to start with you there because literally she ran to the studio.
Again, I feel like that's the theme.
It's only
I'm
the second time
here.
you've done that, but, you know,
Fair.
like, I guess 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Does that make it routine?
I don't know. Maybe I just feel like I'm always rushed when I get here. I'm always doing something. So.
Well, we can make it like 2:15.
No, it's okay. That's just how I operate. I like to be busy, fill my plate. It's all good.
Are you ever able to be bored?
Yes. Usually, like Sunday nights after games or like Monday mornings are my time to turn my brain off. For a little bit.
Force yourself or let yourself be bored?
Let myself. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Fire up some true crime.
That's the
both
of the podcast and television variety?
Both, yep.
Oh, okay. So the podcast of choice while you're driving in the car is true crime?
Yes, always.
Okay.
Yeah, that or like the Daily Stoic.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone listens to that. It's good.
We're finding out so much more about Tracy Joyner today, including what you did for your community service. This was cool for your team.
Yeah, we went to the Green Hill Humane Society in Lane County. It was awesome. We brought the whole team. They did a lot of, we weren't really sure what to expect, and we did a lot of manual labor. It was awesome. Cleaned up everything and did yard work, and then we got rewarded and got to play with the puppies and the cats. And they have a lot of other animals too. They have 20 different species of not dogs and cats that they also have, and it's pretty cool.
This seems like the smart way of you don't play with the puppies and cats until after.
They know what they're doing.
Yes,
they know what they're doing.
Green Hill, well done. That's smart of you. That's smart. That's a cool opportunity, though, for your team. I imagine that's rewarding doing stuff like that.
It is, and I have an affinity for dogs especially, and so this was something that was high priority in terms of community service, and who doesn't like to pet animals? So it was good.
Cool.
Our team enjoyed it.
That's cool. Conference play, though, underway. Some of your takeaways from your first matchup on the road against UCLA.
Just felt like we had a really good performance. I mean, I think UCLA is obviously one of the best teams in the country, and what I was really most proud of was us like sticking to the game plan, and we knew there was going to be just like some maybe athletic mismatches and just like how quickly they move the ball and adapting to the speed of play. We haven't really faced an opponent like that yet this season, and so we knew that if we played like a team, we were going to have a really good shot at getting a result that was deserved. And I thought we did great. You know, we played 88 minutes very well, and you know, a couple decisions that let us down, but you know, those players also saved us lots of times, so it's hard to blame anything on one moment or 2 moments, but I was really proud of the way that we played and competed. Yeah.
Well, context, the only UCLA goals came on penalty kicks.
Right.
That says something about your team's defense.
Well, no doubt, and they, you know, UCLA beat Stanford 2-0 the weekend before, so I'm like, basically we're like Stanford, right? We're
exactly.
just as good. Yeah,
yes,
same result.
Yes.
So no, I think that it was a great performance, and not giving up a goal in the run of play is huge. Just I think defensively we're really well organized. We were tough. We were, you know, really had a great mentality going into it and knew we were going to have to level up, and honestly I think we did that, and we gained a lot of confidence moving forward.
It's been a theme in our conversations just about that focus on defense. You feel like your team's then taken some steps defensively here?
Yeah, because I think, you know, a lot of the focus is like on individual defending and making sure that you win your matchups, but this game really tested us in terms of like defensive organization as a team collectively, and we did a really good job of, you know, we had a certain strategy that we wanted to use, and they did a great job of not, you know, kind of going kamikaze and going off their own. We were really compact. We took away space and did a really great job of sticking to what we knew was going to help us get the best result we could.
Well, you talk about like those individual fouls, right? That lead to what we're talking about with like. How do you coach that? I mean, you're smiling as I'm asking this, like, you know where I'm going. Like, you want that level of aggression, you know, but I don't know. How do you approach that as a defensive-minded coach, I suppose?
Yeah, I think that you go to ground, you slide tackle in really specific moments, and the coachable moment where those were 2 moments that you did not need to go to ground to. And so there is a learning, like it wasn't necessarily about the mentality. Like I love it. Like the effort is there and that speaks volumes. But in terms of a coaching moment and a coachable moment, like those were 2 instances where we did not need to leave our feet, just based on the situation. And you got to trust your goalkeeper that they're going to make a stop. Kaylee had a phenomenal game, which was awesome. And, we got a freshman playing center back, and she played so well. Her matchup is a national team player. That's one of the best players in the country, and she did a great job. Great, but she was phenomenal. And so you look at that one moment, and you're like, you're not defined by that, but like let's look at this and let's look at that decision, and you got to learn from that mistake, and we'll move forward together for sure.
It's interesting though. You say like coachable moment. Like you hope every moment can be coachable, but certainly like. That's a tough ask when you're put up on film, right, in those moments, right? That's got to go a long way toward building that quick decision-making that you have to have.
For sure. And, attacking players or players that are in the attacking third, middle third, like they can get away with some of those, questionable decisions in terms of, getting too much contact,
Someone
stuff
helps
like
them
that.
On the back end.
No doubt, but defenders have to be really, really smart in their contact and, making good decisions. Do I have to win the ball in this moment, or can I let this player take an extra touch? Is this going to be a goal-scoring opportunity if I don't go to ground? If not, okay, then I got to make sure I stay on my feet. So those are some things that it's hard to coach, or it's easy to coach, but it's hard to execute when you don't necessarily have the experience or haven't been in that moment before. And so we'll look at it and talk about it and break it down.
Well, you touched too on goalkeeping. I wanted to ask you about that too. Like that's a big. You talk about like the last defense you have, right? I mean that's a stressful position. What have you seen there?
Yeah, Kaylee was phenomenal. I mean, she definitely had some unconventional moments in terms of like just making like basic saves. She came out of the box a couple times, and it was awesome. Like she just plays with so much instinct, and she's so confident, which I think is everything. I think the players and the team just like really have a lot of trust in her. So those weren't moments where I was like, oh man, what is she doing? It was like, all right, Kay, go get it, girlfriend. It was a good moment for sure.
You have to have that level of, you talk about like the level of aggressiveness for a defender, right? Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. And like someone with that physical presence, the communication presence as well, and just someone that's got a lot of confidence. Like I say this all the time to the team, like even if you don't know what you're doing, do it with confidence and we'll all figure it out. Even if it's the wrong decision, at least you're doing something, and then we can all mobilize behind it. But like the worst thing you can do is nothing,
I feel like I hear at some point, like every coach of every sport says a phrase like that, right? Like you don't want to have to coach the effort behind it. It sounds like you don't have to do that with this team.
Not often. Every now and again, for sure, we got to remind ourselves, because I think that where we've gotten caught this season, if I'm being very transparent, is like the first 15-20 minutes of a game, or even the first half at times, is like when you start slow, when we have trainings that start slow, I think then you can't expect to start quick in a game, and so beginning of practice, we've started to get better at that, of like showing up, crossing that white line, and like getting locked in right away, rather than easing into training, because obviously that replicates on the game field.
Sure. Talking soccer with head coach Tracy Joyner, back at home now. Illinois, Thursday, 7 o'clock. It's on Big Ten Network as well as KWVA. Northwestern's in town for the Women in Flight game on Sunday. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to ask you about the value of only having a one-game weekend. Coaches always want more practice, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No, we had back-to-back single-game weekends, which was really nice. So we got a lot of players, back on the pitch, which felt great, and just good recovery and Good momentum. It was a single game weekend for the whole conference, and so lots of time for practice. But we had, that was a really big matchup. So we had some sore legs today at training that we're still 2 days out from that game, and focused on recovery and getting ready for Thursday's game.
But the recovery is so valuable, though, right? I mean, can you put that in perspective for fans, like when you have the back-to-back single game weekends, what that can do for your student athletes?
It's huge, and I, as I've gone and progressed throughout my career, I've focused a lot more on recovery. When you grow up playing and you kind of got an old school mentality, like I do in a lot of ways. Just maturity as a coach and understanding like players need rest, and there's so much value in rest. And you don't want to feel like you're losing, the margins when you're not getting like really quality training sessions. But honestly, like less is more, I think, when you're in season and the deeper that you get into conference play. So we focus a lot on recovery.
Conference play, though, like we talked about here, a home conference opener coming up against Illinois. What do we know about the Illini?
That they're very good, very talented. They're 7-0-1, so they're one of the only undefeated teams in the conference. And first-year head coach as well. Katie was actually my teamate in the Pro League a long time ago.
All right.
Yeah, so good human, good coach for sure. And so, you got another like young group that's excited, different style of coaching, and, they're playing hard and they're getting some really good results against good teams.
And there are no former teammate exchanges this week then?
No, zero.
Yeah. I understand. Off season, maybe?
Oh, yeah. No, because she was the assistant at Michigan, and, my husband's there. And when I went to Ann Arbor to go visit, I needed a babysitter. I was using the head coach's old babysitters to watch. Oh, yeah. No, we're dialed.
I get it. No, I get it. Not a very big world that you're in.
The soccer world is very small. Yeah. Very small.
Everybody seems to know everybody. And then Northwestern Women in Flight game coming up on Sunday. It's at home. I mean, just talk about that, like the value of being at home here for some big games.
Yeah, we're excited to be at home. We've been on the road for the past 2 weeks, and so just getting back on our field and around our fans and good energy and all the stuff. I think this has been a really good reset for us, not just physically but kind of mentally as well. And we've had such a great turnout from the community, and we just continue, to hope that they come out and support us, and they add so much to the vibe and the energy. And we're looking forward to just being back on our field and our home turf.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah. Good luck this weekend. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks so much.
Tracy Joyner breaking down the matchup. Scott, something's going wrong with Scott back there. Are you okay? Scott's cable's stuck. It's a whole ordeal. Okay. Scott's okay. We're okay. Oregon soccer, they're back at Pape Field on Thursday, 7 o'clock, resuming Big Ten play against another ranked opponent in Illinois, and then also at Pape on Sunday against Northwestern. It is a big weekend for Oregon athletics here back in Eugene after all of the teams were away last weekend. Football, soccer, they return back to the state of Oregon. Volleyball also returns back to the state of Oregon as well this week. 2 games coming up for Oregon soccer, but we're going to transition and start focusing back on football. We have a lot of players who have met with the media over the coming days. We'll get to talk to them when we return after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Can't wait for Shot at Autzen Stadium coming up on Saturday. Noon kick against Oregon State. We heard from Coach Dan Lanning earlier in the program. Yesterday after practice, Theran Johnson just got to visit his old school in Northwestern. Oregon got a win. Theran Johnson, after that matchup, spoke with the media yesterday.
Easy one. What was it like being back at that school and playing those guys and just kind of your experiences there?
It was obviously a little different. Like, I spent 4 years on the other side. So it was just different, kind of getting to see the opposing team's process and this and that. But at the end of the day, it was a game, and like, it's still on the field, like I'm familiar with. So I just went at it as I go at any other game, and just tried not to like talk to any of those guys on the other side till like after, and just focus on my job, one play at a time.
Just what was the process to get back for you? Because we saw you pregame the first 2 games, trying to fight through clearly the right knee there. Just what was that like physically and mentally, having to go out and try?
Physically, like, it was obviously some pain. Like, that's why I wasn't playing. And mentally, I was fine. Like, I was okay. It's the longest I've been hurt in my career, but I've missed games like due to injury before. So I was all right, just trying to, get back healthy, focusing on myself, and just trying to get back healthy.
First time out there in game action this season. How was it just trying to get that chemistry down with those other guys in the secondary?
I mean, that's built up through camp and practice. Like, it didn't just, happen on game day. So, I mean, we all have chemistry. We all felt comfortable with each other. It wasn't really anything to that.
How did your former teammates receive you?
Like I said, I try not to talk to them before the game. But after the game, a bunch of my former teammates came up, showed love, just for asking how I was doing and vice versa. So they received me pretty well.
While you're on the sideline, you got to watch a bunch of freshmen play at your position. I'm curious what your thoughts were on such a young group the first 2 games.
I'm happy for them. I'm excited for them. Like, I know I was dying for those opportunities and be put in those type of situations when I was a freshman. So I'm just excited for them. Like, I don't have any ill will towards them or anything. Like, I'm excited to see what they can go do, and I pull from their toolbox and learn things from them. And vice versa. So, I mean, it's just a close-knit group. Everybody, wants everybody's success. So I'm just sitting back watching, enjoying it.
When Coach talked about being disappointed with the way the game ended, what is that like on the flight back, and even just like the first couple practices post that game?
I mean, everybody wasn't really happy with the way it ended. Like, obviously we won, but like, there's a way that we want to go out and win and just play football regardless who's on the field. So, I mean, we just come back and we just attack everything that we kind of felt that we did poorly, like as a unit, like just tackling and just the little things, the basics, going back to the basics, honestly, just coming back to the doctor.
What do you know about this rivalry this week, and I guess what did you learn from your teammates that spoke up earlier this week?
I mean, there's rivalries. Like, you play in rivalries, middle school, high school, so like you understand the importance of it. Like, I may not have been here for 4 years to talk smack to somebody else who's on the other team right now. But, like, I understand the importance of it to the guys, and they've definitely stressed it. So I'm coming in with the same demeanor and mentality as them.
Back to the injury really quickly. Can you share what it was and where you're at, I guess, from like 100%, or how you feeling?
I just got banged up. It was like a bone bruise kind of ordeal. Just ran into somebody else at practice, and I'm feeling good now. I'm back.
When you're facing a team that likes to take a lot of deep shots, what is the key to keeping the top on the coverage as an outside corner?
Just knowing your leverage and knowing like what routes that we can and can't give up. So just knowing, like, not feeling stressed on, like, certain routes, like, oh, if I give up an out in this call, like, it's not the end of the world. So just knowing, like, what you have to protect and, yeah, not losing those routes or those concepts.
Your thoughts on the receivers and kind of the production that they can do if they get open?
I mean, they're D1. They're talented guys. They're a good group over there. And, I mean, we faced a good group, I feel like, with Oklahoma State. And just coming out trying to do the same thing, just locking in, not really like worrying about guys, just going one play at a time. And, yeah, just doing our technique and everything that we've been taught over the year. So.
Jerry Mixon's gotten a lot of attention for his pass coverage the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the interceptions, but it seems like his instincts are really good out there. What does that do for you guys in the secondary when he's locking it down underneath like that?
Oh, we know that like anything over the middle, if we're in like man and he's kind of free, like we know that we can kind of play a little looser on like end breakers and stuff because he's there. He's just instinctual, like he flies around. He does it in practice and he does it in the games. Y'all see it.
What is a rivalry game like when you're going up against a team that's kind of spiraling? They're winless. Their coach has been publicly called for his firing. Like you guys are supposed to win by a lot. Like how do you kind of find your place in a rivalry like that?
Well, to me, like rivalry weeks, they're kind of a whole separate week. Like forget their season, forget everything that's going on. Like this is each team's like Super Bowl. Like this is what we're looking forward to. And so just like throw all that out the window. Like we know that we're going to get their best and they're going to come amped up and they're ready to roll. So we gonna give them the same back.
That's Theran Johnson breaking down the matchup for Oregon and Oregon State coming up on Saturday at Autzen Stadium. There will be a whole lot of Ducks in action around the rest of the state of Oregon coming up this weekend, or actually coming up tomorrow, rather. You heard Tracy Joyner and her talk about Oregon soccer going up against Illinois on Thursday at Pape Field. Oregon volleyball also in the state of Oregon, just not at Matthew Knight Arena. The Ducks will be going up against Oregon State. It's their version of rivalry week as Oregon goes and travels to Corvallis at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Oregon will go up against Oregon State on the volleyball court. And then the next day, still in the state of Oregon on Friday, Oregon volleyball will go up against Portland State on Friday at 7 o'clock. So if you're in Corvallis, if you are in Portland, if you are a Duck fan, make sure to get to Oregon volleyball throughout the course of the next few days. Oregon golf also still on the links as they continue to wrap up their weekend their week out in a very competitive field of golfers. They will close up coming up in just a few hours, really. So make sure that you are tuned in to the GoDucks.com webpage, keeping up on updates, as well as Twitter for Oregon women's golf as they close up throughout the course of their week. And, of course, Coach's Show coming up tonight, 7 o'clock. Dan Lanning in studio. We'll see you then. Go Ducks.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that. I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different.